I think I appreciate every sound. Yeah. Like it's a long way to not even become comfortable. How can you become comfortable, like fully comfortable with improvisations? Like if you become really fully comfortable with improvising, probably it's the end. I don't know. It's just like you never know what will happen. This is the funniest thing. I'm not that kind of person. Like I think I always think that a human being itself can produce lots of emotions without taking any specific drugs to make it. You can create everything by yourself, actually. Silence is very important. You have to listen carefully. Like listening carefully to what is happening around you is very important. And I listen a lot of. I listen to ambience that like surround me all the time. And usually I do not listen to music that often. Like when I'm at home, I spend most of my time in silence. Silence is like there is no such thing as silence. Like everyone is surrounded by sounds all the time. It's like I'm listening carefully to the cars in the streets, like to the wind or like to the rain or everything like that is happening in my room. And like there are lots of sounds all the time. I like it. And for my project Kate and V, I also like my first record was half ambient, half pop tracks, and the next album is going to be like super pop. It's funny, on the next record there's going to be lots of pop tracks, comparing even to the first one. it's like me being an instrument. I'm just like an instrument, and this thing is just happening around me, and I'm just catching some moments and I'm recording it, and that's it. That's why I have a feeling that the chair did it for me, because I just like sat on my chair and it's like it all just happened. I know maybe it sounds ridiculous, but it's also one of my favorite quotes ever. Glenn Gould also told everyone that it's not him, it's his chair playing.
Who was that?
Glenn Gould.
Yeah.
And I love him. He's an amazing guy. I mean, I've never met him in person, but I think he was an amazing musician and yeah, amazing human being. And I really love the idea that he also thought that it's not him, it's something else. It's just like he was also an instrument, just an instrument, a medium, like who was translating the music. So specifically this kind of program that I'm doing right now with my solo project, it's like I have this vibe, it has a specific vibe, but Angel also, she's very sensitive and very emotional, and I think really musically and like in general understand each other so well. So I mean, I trust her a lot, and if I just tell her like, hey, I'm gonna play like improvisation, and at some point, like if you feel that you have something to say, like using the flute, you could just join in, and that's it. But I gave her a sign. I mean, like, yeah, let's come here. In the middle of the performance, you already have some kind of a narrative, and if you feel like, yeah, this is the moment where like I really need Angel right now at this moment, we decided that I will show her a sign. And it's funny because I do not see very well, and also there are lots of lights on the stage, and I also was pretty sick. And I gave her a sign, and I couldn't see if she saw me or not. I was like, oh, I really hope that she saw me. And then I saw someone moving towards the stage. I was like, yes, she's coming. You have to understand, which is probably the most important thing, that if you have an instrument, it doesn't mean that you have to play it. I mean, it's like usually when you start improvising and playing, you want to make sounds all the time, because you get so excited, like, hey, I'm finally playing, like I want to make a sound, like I'm playing, like it's not a real orchestra, it's like, I don't know, it's an ensemble of like amateurs and people, like random people. But anyway, like when you play together, you just want to make sound, like, hey, I want people to hear me. But then you just realize that's improvisation and making music. It's not about making sounds all the time. It's always about listening carefully to other people, I guess, and existing. Music is really like a conversation. I mean, when you talk, you have commas, you have dots, you have ends of the phrases, beginning of the phrases. You have to take a breath at least. And this is the same with music. I mean, you have to make a pause and to separate some phrases and to let other people talk. I mean, it's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. It's always a conversation. And this is the most important thing that I've learned. I guess my music is very abstract. Even if we're talking about pop tracks, they are still very abstract. It's not like I'm making songs about Russian realities right now. Definitely, I am in the I exist in the context. I cannot ignore it. Like nobody can ignore the context. It's pointless. And but at the same time, the way you create something, the way you create art, it's not for me. I decided to use an abstract way because for me it's much more important to ask a question but not telling properly, like, hey, yeah, everything is bad, and I don't know, not like, for me it's not like, art is not like telling you obvious things. Art is about asking questions so people can ask themselves and figure out the answers themselves. Like, it's all about asking someone, like, you know, it's better to ask like, how do you feel, than to tell someone like, yeah, you feel that way, which is also like very intense and passive aggressive. So yeah, I'm asking questions. Like, my music is abstract, definitely. I just realized that there are words in English language and in Russian language that have the same amount of letters, 3, and they have the same meaning. And I found it very funny, actually. So I just decided to combine all the tracks together to make a visual connection, you know, because the name is very important. I really think that the name is very important. It's like, you know the movie Never-Ending Story? Yeah. Never-Ending Story. I really love the idea that Bastian, the guy who saved the fantasy world, he saved it because he gave a name to the princess. He named her, because once you name something, it becomes real. And that's why I gave those short names to each track to connect them all together and to build a story aside of the audio. It's also like a visual story connection. So yeah. All of the tracks I recorded at home in my room, and I really love Moscow, and I really love this like that tiny room I have, my Moscow apartment, and one of my favorite movements in art is conceptualism, and specifically Moscow conceptualism from 70s, late 70s. And one of my favorite artists is Viktor Pivovarov, and he always, he's like, he had an idea that soul lives not in a house or nor in an apartment, but in a room. So I really feel that I can definitely relate to this, and I feel like my room is like, I'm also with this record, I was trying to picture my room. Maybe this is a chamber of my soul. I don't know. It's just like I can definitely relate to this idea. It's just like a very cozy, small space where everything is happening. And Pivovara's room is not like a room with like 4 walls and proper furniture inside. It's like a very weird dimension, like where time and space is stretching. It's like it's small, but at the same time you can find a lawn there or a forest. It's like small but never ending, and the space is stretching. It's also very surreal. Moscow conceptualism. Oh, well, Scratch Orchestra is I don't know, it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, it's a very weird experience for me in my life. I usually compare it with an LSD trip. Some people take LSD and we all just like went deep into Scratch Orchestra, and it changed our lives. Like all the participants, all the members of the Scratch Orchestra, I think this thing affected everyone. Like really, my life divided into before Scratch Orchestra and after, literally. And it helped me a lot. It's like opening the window in your head and like letting the rest of the world in. And I became less snobbish. I wasn't really snobbish before, but after Scratch Orchestra, I just realized that there are lots of music and sounds and everything, and you can play music using anything, like garbage or whatever you find on the street, and like whatever like comes into your mind. And it's like insane level of freedom, actually. It helped me a lot. And yeah, I also have a band. The band is called Gashe, Glin Shake in English, and we usually improvise together. It's like completely different, not atmosphere, but it's like completely different thing, because you are making music with 3 other persons, and it's different. It's just like you have to communicate somehow. You have to coexist with other guys, and like this is like a very separated world to me. The audience. So, but sometimes, you know, with also improvised setups, I don't know, like I'm much more chill when I play improvisations. Like not really, I'm always nervous, but at the same time, you know, sometimes when you perform pop tracks, like a pop music, it's obviously that you need some feedback, like you want people to dance or like to relax or to do something. And with this kind of tracks that I create from scratch.
Ihr wisst, dass wir nachher um 9:30 die Kasse reinbringen müssen, ne?
It's just like exchanging energy, and you need to take breaks at some point, because like you need to refill yourself with something. I don't even know how to call it, but you know, you cannot force yourself to make music. It's pointless. It's just like you make music when you feel that you need to make music.